So up until just a couple of weeks ago, I was totally opposed to getting one of these bump helmets. But maybe I've changed a little bit, maybe the world's changed a little bit, and I changed my mind. So here I have one of these bump helmets. If you want to know why I changed my mind and why I have one of these now, you should probably stick around. All right, so like I said in the intro, I didn't have one of these bump helmets up until about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. The reason I didn't want a helmet really at all, first off, bump helmet, like it doesn't stop bullets, so why would I want that? So if I'm not gonna get one of these, then I would want one of those ballistic helmets, where that shit's heavy and expensive. And the more expensive it is, maybe the less heavy it is, but still expensive and heavy. So not really interested in either of those things. I was on my way out to the Self-Reliance Festival a couple of weeks ago, and I was listening to Bear Independent talking about the efforts going on in the recovery, at that point recovery, no longer rescue, from that Hurricane Helene that went on over in Tennessee and North Carolina here in 2024. If you're watching this sometime in the future, like I assume most of you are watching this video in the future. And I was thinking about the disaster out there and some of the rescue missions that would go on trying to pull people out of the water. Those people would probably all be wearing some sort of a bump helmet. Not one like this, but a bump helmet. And I thought about the particular location that my house is at and where all of the water is around where my house is at. And I am about as far above the water as the water got over there in Tennessee. So maybe I should think about what happens if the water gets a little higher. Now, as it is already, the place that I live has been pretty well cut off, except for 1 or 2 roads in and out by water not too long after I moved here. So we've already had some flooding issues just in the couple of years that I've been here. So what would happen if I had to swim for it? Well, I'd probably want something like a helmet. Vehicle operations, just driving around or doing anything a little bit sketchy in your vehicle, you might want a helmet. If you're rolling around inside your vehicle, a helmet would probably be nice. It'd be kind of weird to wear this while you're riding a bicycle or something, but if you had one, maybe you put it on. Maybe you're the kind of guy that's rich and has night vision, and you want to do some freaking blacked out bicycling. That actually sounds really cool. I should stop being poor and get night vision. And if you are having to swim through any sort of flooding water, there's a bunch of stuff like in the water, like moving along real fast, like trees, cars, houses, bodies, and maybe you would want something to protect your head. So there's a saying that if you've got a $5 head, then you only need a $5 helmet. And sure, that makes sense, but maybe I don't have a $1,000 head. I don't know. So maybe I didn't want a $1,000 helmet. What are these dogs doing? These dogs are on crack. There they go. So the last thing that sold me on these helmets is all of the non-cool guy tactical stuff that you might want some head protection for. If you're cutting down tree limbs, depending on the size of the limb, you might want a helmet. If you're around somebody operating a forklift that is maybe not so responsible, you might want a helmet. A lot of folks in rural areas have things like bulldozers or backhoes or skid steers. And, most of that stuff, not an issue, but every once in a while, there might be something going on. Maybe you're not the operator and you're doing something else on the ground. You might want a helmet. So I live in the Ozarks. There's a lot of hills. There's also some caves and some bluffs, or some really steep hills that if you fall off that, you might be getting a little bit fucked up. So if there were some reason, whether you were just hanging out having fun or had a reason to go in or out or over one of those things, you might want to consider having something to protect your head. So I already recorded a video with Joey at Tactical Response about what I was thinking of these helmets, because that was right after I bought it. I'd probably worn it maybe twice. And one of the things that I found out right after we got done recording is I found James Yeager's bicycle helmet up on top of his safe. So his helmet, on the back side of it, it had his full name written on it. It had a emergency contact phone number, and it had his blood type. So if he were out riding a bicycle, like I'm sure some of you do, and something happened and somebody came up on him and he is unconscious, they would know his name and they would know who to call. And if it was so bad that he needed some sort of blood put in him, they would know the blood type. So I'm probably going to do that on this helmet, just in case. And if I did have a bicycle and a bicycle helmet, I would do that. So there's probably some of you that are like parents, you got kids tend to have bicycles, maybe less now, but when I was a kid, kids had bicycles. But if you got a kid with a bicycle and they're wearing a helmet like they oughta, like I didn't do when I was a kid, you should probably write that stuff on the helmet. Name, phone number, blood type, if that's a thing you care about. Just in case something happens and somebody finds your kid on the side of the road, they know who they are and who to call. So that is definitely something that if you were a parent, you should probably be thinking about that. All right, last thing to kind of tie this all together. And the reason I brought up the bit about the bicycles is there is so much more to protecting you than just the guns and the armor and the bulletproof helmets and all. There's so much more to your life that is not that you might want some sort of safety equipment or protection for. If the power goes out, it's not a fight, but can you keep your food from thawing and going bad? That's important. Or if you're just driving along like most people do every day and you get in a wreck, how do you handle that? It's not a fight, but you might want the medical, the tourniquets, the gauze. You might want that stuff outside of a fight, just in your regular everyday life. So that is why I bought a bump helmet, because just in regular life, even when we're not using these things, there might be times when you want to protect your head. And there's a couple of times that I want to protect mine, so now I have a bump helmet. So that pretty much covers it. I hope you liked the video. Just something to think about. Take these ideas, think on them a little bit. I had to think on it for a while to draw my conclusion that this was a thing for me, and maybe this is a thing for you. And if you do have anything else you want to add to the conversation, any reasons why you would or would not want either a bump helmet like this one or one of those cool ballistic helmets like you see people with, go ahead and put that in the comments. I like talking about this stuff, obviously, because here we are at the end of the video and I've talked however long it is that I've talked. So thanks for watching, and stick around for more stuff probably. See you around.